Hi, Anti-Stalker Nation, abolitionists, and victims. I am Jessica Seymour. Since an investigation of last December's law enforcement bust of a gambling ring will show that the law enforcement agents made more money and committed more crimes in premeditation than all who were arrested in the sting, the special video is dedicated to the victims of the investigation method of human trafficking. Victims. Here's how you protect yourself when law enforcement human traffickers are colluding with their courthouse and judge-employed human trafficker affiliates. What you have to do is formally video your evidence and go public with it, since these immunity-seeking human traffickers will hunt you to rob you of your physical evidence, rob you of your personal and real property, conspire clever ways to rob your court files of your evidence, and even hack away your Dropbox links of your evidence. So here are 4 very important pieces of evidence that prove that the San Diego Superior Court colluded in a property conversion scam of a woman that this court knew to be a human trafficking victim. First, here is a filed notice of pendency of action for my Escala property filed on June 3rd, 2015 that was treated unlawfully by the San Diego Superior Court's presiding department, whereas the presiding judge refused to issue his signature on this form after it was filed, which he did as to keep me from being able to have this form filed with the county recorder's office. The presiding judge has no legal authority or discretion to keep the county uninformed of a legal matter that is pending on a property, as long as the legal matter actually is in play in the court. And this was a courthouse-aided scam to convert my Escala property. This is the notice of pendency of action. As you can see, the filed stamp is right here. This is where the judge was supposed to sign and conform and date it, so that the county recorders could take it into their file, put it their stamp right here in this box, and then have that be something that the title companies would be able to see and keep a property protected from clouded title. I had to ask the presiding department for this repeatedly and numerous times. They failed every single time I asked to give this back to me conformed. They refused to do it. Now there is a new presiding department judge, but this new presiding judge still has not processed my filed notice of pendency of action nunc pro tunc, as he knows that he should. And this presiding department judge has also kept my Escala appeal in a hold status with no answer to my request for extension of time on appeal brief that I had to file for due to the court's unlawful acts of keeping my record on appeal tampered with. Whereas my record on appeal notices and additions were kept out of the record of action and docket and out of the appealable record. Law prohibits this kind of action, but the Human Trafficking San Diego Superior Court does not care about the laws that it breaks. The court did this to me all at the same time that a woman who converted my personal property from my home also took it upon herself to sell my Escala home, though she and her broker and their attorney all knew about the courthouse filed notice of pendency and about the appeal. In fact, when the San Diego Superior Court kept denying me of the conformed notice of pendency of action, I asked the broker to have his attorney perform this form for the county recorder's office, and this broker also refused to do so. I also asked the opposing party's attorney, Mike Baker, to also perform this form for the county recorder's office, and Mike Baker also refused to do so. So I informed his attorney firm, and his attorney firm also failed to have the county recorder's office made aware of this pending action that remains on this home to this day. And this team of real estate licensed human traffickers converted my home, all while I was asking for my personal property back, which they hid from me for months and then converted to themselves also. This ring of human traffickers must have thought that I would be dead by now, or did they just think that this Ben Klinger and San Diego Police Department called Jessica Crazy game all these years later was going to work for them? Bad news, it won't work. So second, here is a received 6/25/15 marked second complaint and notice to the presiding department about the file tampering of the record on appeal with declaration and with emergency requests. See, the San Diego Superior Court of Appeals has refused to treat my pleadings and my appeal lawfully, so the presiding department was made aware of it, and all that was done by the presiding department was a cover-up of the abuse. This is the pleading that was marked by the presiding department, and is the second complaint, as you can see. So they had received one first. They were fully aware of this situation, and they did nothing about it other than aid it. I had to make complaints to the presiding department about the unlawful and suspicious treatment that my pleadings and I were receiving from the courts due to things like this. Third, here is a filed third notice of submission of proceedings and discovery for the record on appeal, dated and received June 25th, 2015, with attachments that never made it into the record on appeal, nor did the attachments and designated items that were in the two prior filed designations. This is that document that was filed and received by the clerk. It's the third notice designating two additional items, number 26 and number 27, for the record on appeal with the items attached. These also never made it into the record on appeal. Neither did the first 1 through 25 items that were designated properly. None of them made it into the record of appeal either. All my pleadings have been kept out of the Register of Action in violation of law, which you can read about, as I am going to be posting my pleadings in a blog very soon. But before this, I wanted you all to see that they have been received by the court with stamps, but have been kept out of the physical file at the courthouse. You won't see these documents if you go and pull the file of the courthouse. They've been kept out, which is unlawful. And they've been kept from the review of judges, though they are emergency pleadings. And they have been kept from the record on appeal, which is what forced me to have to ask for a continuance on my appeal brief. See, you can't have an appeal with pleadings, exhibits, and evidence that has been kept out of the record on appeal. You're only allowed to put into your appeal brief items that are in this big book that's called the Record of Appeal, and I've been cheated out of having my evidence in that book. My requests for extension and for the record on appeal for it to be corrected have gone unanswered and have been used to keep my appeal in a suspended status, while the SDPD stalked me with the intent to force me into a court that is waiting to violate more law with the intent to use a 2011 Ben Klinger attacking of me as their way to cover up what they've done, which is call a victim of theirs crazy. Shame on you, San Diego Superior Court. It is disgusting the way the San Diego Superior Court and its judges conspire against a woman who has property that their human trafficking ring of law enforcement traffickers are trying to convert. Fourth, here's the 7th notice of tampering of Register of Action, tampering of court file, and application for emergency relief made under Title 42 U.S.C. Section 14141 with declaration in support and with proposed order that was filed and stamped on September 3rd, 2015. This is that pleading received by the court, and as you can see, it is the 7th time they had to receive this data. On around October 8th of 2015, I found out that the San Diego Superior Court of Appeals treated this filing unlawfully through a scam of theirs to only stamp the word received onto my pleadings that I filed. And so I refiled this 7th notice again and the clerk begrudgingly gave me a file stamp on it, as you can see here. This is a month later where they actually put a different stamp on it, same 7th notice. So the court finally got this a second time, but this court still kept this pleading out of the Register of Action and out of the record, keeping it undocketed and unable to be discoverable, which is another violation of law. As you can see here, this is the same pleading filed again on October 18th, 2015. So these are the same two pleadings. Neither of them made their way into the record on appeal as they were designated, and neither of them are in the physical file. Neither of them can be discoverable by anybody who is trying to make discovery. This is illegal and unlawful. I informed the court months prior that under Rule 8.817b1 that a document is deemed filed on the date that the clerk receives it. This is the rule. However, the court continued to repeatedly act as though I never filed things, as if they had no proof of service when the service was made or was not even necessary to begin with. And let's not forget, I was in an appeal for a few reasons, including the fact that the lower court prior tampered with the Register of Action docket as well, and failed to send me or my attorney the decision it had made, all while tampering with my attorney regarding stipulations that were never actually made either. and I say this with an attorney testimony and attorney declaration to support this claim. The San Diego Superior Court has actively engaged in cosseting and furthering human trafficking, property conversion, and specifically property conversion of a victims, and in cover-up aiding the human trafficking ring that's targeting this victim with them. They've aided this ring by calling the victim crazy. This is a disgusting thing to do, and shame on you, San Diego Superior Court. This game has gotten exposed, old, and expired. Do you hear that, Paige Stevens? Stop cosseting this game of human traffickers that the Superiority Court has engaged in. Do you hear that, Henry Cocker? Stop furthering and aiding this "our victim is crazy" game of the SDPDs. Henry Cocker, resign if you can't stand up to your former employee. Oh, but that's right. You're in on it with them. Victims, watch this show because I have my Escala property back very soon, and I will have justice, just like I pray for you to receive. Anti-Stalker Nation, abolitionists, and victims, please read the Civil Codes and Title 42 U.S.C. Section 14141 violations of the San Diego Superior Courts that will be made known to you in the next few blog postings regarding the filed and maliciously unheard pleadings that will be posted in this blog shortly. IHTs convert the property of their victims with the aid of court employees, even the personal property of their victims. Isn't that right, Attorney Peter Selecki and Attorney Mike Baker? Your unlawful property conversion scams, Peter Selecki and Mike Baker, have officially gotten you both listed, and the Superiority Court has received emergency pleading for protection of my personal property back in April and in May of 2015, all while Attorney Peter Selecki and Attorney Mike Baker's clients hid my property from me, inclusion with Mike Baker. Yes, my personal property that was in my home was hidden from me for months, and when I tried to finally receive that property, I was denied. Victims, Anti-Stalker Nation, and abolitionists, I am Jessica Seymour, and I see your true colors shining through, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show, because you are beautiful like a rainbow.